But let's get on to our second topic here real quick because we're just about right on time here. So let's get to our second topic here. If you guys are okay with ending this one here. You guys good?
Yes.
All right, cool. Well, we're going to play a video here, guys. It's Vatican holds global summit on sexual abuse. This is disgusting. And yeah, let's get into this video. Here we go.
The Catholic Church isn't closing its doors this week on the topic of sexual abuse. Instead, it's opened them for a 4-day summit on the subject in Rome. Euronews talked with the only sexual abuse victim attending the event, Marie Collins.
As a survivor, I don't want to see any child go through the same as I have myself, and I think that's the way most survivors feel. So this is an extremely important event, I feel, for everybody.
Collins told the crowd of bishops and religious order leaders that she won't settle for just an apology. News 24 quotes her. There must be acknowledgement and accountability for the harm and destruction that has been done to the life of victims and their families by the often deliberate cover-up and mishandling of cases by their superiors. But News Video Network reports not everyone thinks this summit is a good idea.
There are many advocates of abuse victims, that have derided this 4-day symposium, saying that it's nothing but window dressing by the church.
A CNN analyst agrees to some extent this could be a public relations stunt, but argues the church is trying to address the problem of sexual abuse first and its tarnished image second.
I do think the church, however, realizes that it's taken a massive blow to its moral authority and to its public image. And I do think they want to try to turn that around.
News.com.au reports national bishops' conferences worldwide must submit comprehensive guidelines for dealing with sex abuse in the church by May. However, some in the church are already questioning this step's effectiveness. Vatican officials say some countries are having trouble formulating these rules because of cultural differences over what exactly constitutes child abuse, and victim support groups say the measures lack enforcement powers. The BBC says attendees of the summit are already brainstorming ideas, including creating e-learning centers to educate leaders on abuse. For Newsy, I'm Lauren Zima. Multiple sources, the real story.
So there you have it, man. Yeah, let's hold a summit on child abuse. Yeah, let's do that. That's great. Yeah, sexual child abuse. Yeah,
I
shouldn't have to do it. Shouldn't have to do it. But go ahead, Paul.
I got an easy guideline to implement with all the priests that have performed child abuse. What you do is you take that priest, go to the back of a church, ask someone to come with a firearm, and shoot him in the back of the head. Then your problem solved.
Yeah. Okay, that's a little biased there, but okay.
I wouldn't call it biased. I'd call it extreme.
Extreme, yeah, a little extreme.
I have no tolerance
You're not
for
biased.
pedophiles.
Here's
no,
my,
either do I. No, trust me, either do I. It's disgusting. Cut their dick off, maybe.
Pedophiles are disgusting. That's
cut their dick off, maybe.
Well known. That's not a surprise to anybody.
Go ahead, CJ.
I mean, even though one of these three is a pedophile, I'm not going to expose who, but everybody knows. We also have one in the chat room. DPR Jones, how you doing? I'm not even kidding. He's really in the chat room. Anyway,
go ahead.
My main issues with the Catholic Church, and I think the whole reason really they're holding a summit on these sexual abuse charges and everything is because it's such a fucking problem. And it's gotten so much media attention.
Oh, it's hurting them. Oh, it's hurting. Their numbers are dropping. Churches are fucking closing.
Here's how they've look. The Catholic Church overall. I'll hit you with a big number first.
Okay.
$2.5 billion that the Catholic Church has paid in confronting clergy sex abuse cases
and cover-ups too.
Just in the U.S.
And cover-ups, yeah, cover-up all.
No, that's just what they spent for the court shit, settlements and all that shit. $2.5 billion billion dollars. All right, in 2007 alone, they spent $660 million in settlements to 508 victims. In 2007, I'm going to repeat that. 1 year, $660 million in settlements to 508 victims.
Unbelievable.
And you won't believe it, but there are actually apologists out there for these cases. And here's one from the media report where they basically it's a Catholic run thing where they basically rag on any negative media attention that the Catholics receive. Number one, these are 5 fast facts that you need to know about this. You need to know about the media and the Catholic sex abuse story, separating fact from fiction. Number one, it's not about Catholic priests. Fact, Catholic priests abuse at a rate far lower than that of other males in the general population. That's their first fucking fact. So what they're saying is, our priests who hold a position of power and influence and are trusted with our children, they only fondle your kids at a lower rate than people in the general population. A lower percentage of fondlers. Keep in mind that a lower percentage of these priests that actually fondle people doesn't mean that there's a lower percentage of people that get fondled. You know what I mean? Like, a priest has access to so many children, so many more than a man in the general population, and you have to take that shit into account. There's a large number of fucking people that he comes in, but that's their first fact that you need to know, that like, even though priests only molest kids at a 5% rate, the national average is 6.5%. So they're technically a lower, and that's the first apologist fucking argument. Here we go. Number 2. The grand conspiracy that wasn't. Fact, you would never know it from the media's lurid and obsessive coverage, but the vast bulk of reported cases of abuse stem only from a historical anomaly, as most allegations occurred during only a small sliver of time during the sexual revolution from the 60s to the 80s. You mean when people finally fucking started coming out and saying, you're abusing me? Like, and one person, and the more people, and because of the media. You understand, the media wasn't such a big deal until the middle of the century, around the time that you're saying, like, oh my God, because people couldn't find out that other people were even talking about it. This wasn't something that was widely fucking spread. And then they said, fuck it, we're going to expose it. And they exposed it full-fledged, and more people started coming out. But this is their argument against why. It's so out of, okay, let's just move on.
Yeah. That was a great rant, dude.
I'm going to go through all 5 of these.
Go ahead.
Number 3,
Go ahead.
The real news. Current accusations against Catholic priests are extremely rare. Fact, almost all accusations against Catholic priests date from many decades ago, and indeed nearly half of all abuse accusations concern priests who are already long dead.
That's bullshit, because this shit just happened late last year in Philadelphia. Just happened. 3 of them. They just
make up and say whatever. They don't fucking care. They're like, oh, but we abused a lot more people back then. And that's our apologist excuse.
Disgusting,
How
man.
sad is this shit?
Disgusting.
Number 4, the story the media won't report. The epidemic of abuse and cover-ups going on today in our own public schools. So now they're going to be like, look, I know we rape and fondle a lot of kids, but what about the teachers? Like, that is not a fucking argument.
It's like they're trying to justify their actions in some kind of way. And it's just disgusting, man. There's no justification for anything.
Disgusting behavior.
Exactly. You can't justify it. You're wrong.
It's more disgusting to hear them defend it than to actually know it exists. To know it exists, like, you almost expect something like that to happen somewhere at some time. But to have people out there like this that fucking defend it, and they do it for their fucking faith, to be like, no, the priests have to be better than what they say because that's my religion and that's what the Catholic fucking Church teaches. Fuck you. And last one, number 5, the Catholic Church today, a model for the protection of children. Fact, the Catholic Church is likely the safest environment for children today, period.
Fucking unfucking believable, man.
Yeah, if they're watched with the priest, maybe.
Yeah, go ahead, Paul. What do you got, and then Drew?
Well, I've already said it. I fucking hate pedophiles, and I really do hate the church because they're trying to say, oh, but it's not just us; it's the teachers. All right. Well, one thing you have some, you have education or some institutions that might have some problems. You have a global fucking company that actively shifts the priest around to hide the fact that they've molested children and done shit with children, and push them to other jurisdictions. Oh yeah, 4 to 6% or 4 to 5%, whatever it is, of the priests. How many of them actually got persecuted by the courts, or how many of them just went from here?
I think you mean prosecuted.
prosecuted by the court.
Persecuted makes them feel like they're not
Yeah.
guilty. Prosecuted is because they're fucking guilty.
Sorry, yeah, I'm thinking of the apologist persecution.
Oh, you're thinking of what they're claiming is happening.
Yeah.
They're claiming they're being persecuted when in fact they're just being prosecuted.
And they're not even being prosecuted; they're being shifted. Someone fucks a little boy here, they go to another state, and everyone doesn't talk about it.
You've
and
seen the
maybe,
South Park episode?
maybe
Well,
if
they're starting to
if
prosecute.
they're lucky, that little boy will get money.
Yeah.
But it won't help because it won't come out for 20 years when he's already hooked on drugs and fucked up.
The damage is already done.
Have you guys seen the South Park episode on this?
No.
Yes.
Where they're all the Catholic priests have their summit, and they're all talking.
Yeah, and they have the
amongst each other
kids on the
and-
chains.
And they say the problem is not that they molest, but that the molestations are being reported. And
Oh,
how
okay,
are they going
I
to
heard
stop
about
the problem at its source with these reports, not at the source where they're doing the fuck? And it's almost become that big of a joke.
Yeah, that's even
joke.
what the guy from South Park says. Is like, hey, I got an idea. How about we stop fucking little kids?
Yeah,
Like-
plain and simple.
How hard is that?
All right.
Sure, you got anything on this?
I really want Aaron Raw in on this.
Okay, he has got to. He said not 8 o'clock. He'd be ready, man.
Okay,
So let's
well,
get
damn it. I guess I'll just have to ask him about
Okay,
it.
ask him later.
Or interview
Yeah,
again.
Jesus Christ. Drew, you got anything else on this topic or no?
It's kind of just an echo of the points Coctopus and Paul already made. Is if this was not the church, there would be nobody defending this. There would be no defense for this. But because it's the fucking church, they get away with shit like this. And it's not just that these people were fucking children, but it's that they were shuffling them around in order to avoid a scandal about it. I mean, you can't stress enough how fucking huge that is. It really is a criminal act this entire organization is behind. And the fucking guy at the top knew about it. And it was part of their credo, how they operate.
Ratzinger knew about it.
To avoid a scandal.
Yeah, Ratzinger
Anything
knew
to
about it.
avoid a
Yeah.
scandal. Yeah, and I was just reading on one of these things, that woman that spoke up, this Mary Collins, and she has a quote here that I was reading. It says, those fingers that would abuse my body at night before were the next morning holding and offering me the sacred host.
Ouch.
The hands that held the camera to
Wow.
photograph my exposed body in the light of day were holding a prayer book when he came to hear my confession.
Probably the
Think
same
about
camera was used to take pictures of the kids during their communion or first confirmation, or all that shit. How disgusting, is
Disgusting.
that literally made my upper body like weak thinking about being in that position of like having someone finger you as a child and then use those fingers to feed you your communion. That is so fucking disgusting and wrong, and it puts that thank you for fucking that quote, because it totally puts the entire goddamn thing into a perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, like I'm literally hurting right now. Like
Disgusting.
I feel I had this stupid ability to put myself in other people's shoes, and like I'm hurting just thinking about what that fucking poor woman had to go through, and it doesn't make me feel bad for the fucking Catholic Church. It makes me feel twice as disgusted for the people that are trying to be apologists for these priests.
Yeah.
It's fucking disgusting. Oof.
And this is the reason why they're losing so many members. It's not even funny. They're hurting the Catholic Church, especially here in the United States, man. They're hurting so bad.
Not fast enough.
What
Yeah,
would
not
you say?
fast
It's not fast.
Not fast
Not
enough.
fast
man.
enough. But very good, man. I don't even really have to really add anything, to be honest with you. What it boils down to is this is a summit that really didn't need to have to take place. I mean, like this problem should have been fixed decades ago. Should have been fixed a long fucking time ago, and the Vatican needs to be held responsible. They need to come out. This is what happened to Ratzinger. He was taking so much heat. They were losing a lot of people. He was hiding all these fucking cases. They were paying these fucking people off. And we could look at Cardinal Dolan, too. Look at Cardinal Dolan, what he did. I think it was Milwaukee he was part of. I forget exactly. Don't quote me. This is off the top of my head, off the cuff now. All the shit that he got involved in, man. And then they made him Cardinal. What? Are you
course
fucking
they did.
kidding me?
Doesn't
Because
make
he
shit
did
go
a good
away.
job. Because he did a good job covering this shit up, probably. That's
Just
the
like
reason
the South
why.
Park episode.
Exactly. And it's bullshit that The Catholic Church needs to start worrying about the damage they're doing or have done in fucking Africa when it comes to condoms. You know, have a fucking summit about that. Say, hey, what can we do here? Okay, let's change our policy because religion evolves. That's what religion is. It evolves to fit normal society or what we have advanced in society. That's what they try to do. They change their fucking ways all the time. And you know what? It's time for them.
Be happy that they accept evolution.
Yeah, well, you know exactly right. Yeah, and atheists are good. We're sort of good people. They get put.
Yeah, I mean,
they get
we can go to heaven
No,
now.
We go to heaven now or
according to the
something.
Pope, not
Yeah,
according to the
Pope.
church.
Correct.
Anything
Yeah.
the Pope says is overrode by the church itself. They go, no, he's wrong.
Well, thank you
But he's
very
the Holy
much.
Father, he's wrong.
Because,
Yeah, hold on.
Because God
Guys.
is a democratic idea.
Democratic.
Yeah.
I said democratic.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe there's a Skype in
Guys,
or a Skype lag, or maybe
It's
your
okay.
fucking headphones.
Yeah, that's what it was. Okay, guys,
Shite.
hold on. Shh, simmer down. I want to bring up. Simmer down, Benson. What I want to bring up is a good point. I watched this movie called Maxima Mea Culpa. It's about the abuse scandal, the abuse that's been going on in the church over decades, and they brought up. I think it was this. Where these kids, I think it was orphans, where they were either, I think they were deaf. Yeah, they were deaf, and they were being abused, man, by all these pastors, or all these priests and clergy members, and it's pretty disgusting fucking movie documentary. And guys, go check it out. I forget what it's called, but it's called Maxima Mea Culpa.
No, I think you're probably just looking up child porn again. Bro.
No, it is. Seriously, no, this is very serious, dude. And it's a
Yeah,
great
that's
fucking
probably-
video
that
on
would be-
explaining like how Ratzinger was involved, Cardinal Dolan was involved. It's a fucking excellent fucking documentary. It basically gives you a sort of a history on what's been happening with the
Of course,
sexual
you would
abuse
abuse a
scandal.
deaf kid. Who are they going to tell?
Of course.
There's no sign language for fingered me in the butt. Okay, there probably is.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Totally inappropriate.
yeah, he sticks his. Yeah, it's totally inappropriate. Yeah, the story's not funny, but it's
it's inappropriate in my way, but my jokes are much less inappropriate than the actual actions. So there, in my defense.
All right, that being said, guys, let's get off this. We're a little behind here by a few minutes. Let's sit here, mute your microphones, and we're going to go into Skeptic of the Week.